Everybody always cares about getting infinite really quick. You just want to get it out of the way. There's decks out there that might be able to get you there quickly. We're going to take a quick peek at what is helping people get to infinite right now based on some stats. You can see I'm not quite there yet. I'm going to show you the deck I've been using. I haven't been playing a ton, but given the amount of time I've played to get to here, I feel pretty good about it. And it's not a very new deck. It's something that I've talked about before, and it's from another content creator. So I'll definitely mention that. Hopefully it helps you get there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to some of our friends' websites, databases to kind of look at this. First off, we're going to be looking at untapped.gg. This is collection level 3000 plus. We're looking at 80 to 100 plus. I'd love if I could make this to 99. I cannot. Oh, I can. Oh, I tricked you there. So the nice part is here is we're going to go by win rate. So we really want to do something where we're hitting that infinite. So first, it's not going to be a lot of games because our current location just dropped. So you're going to see stuff that's happening right now. And that's critical for trying to get infinite right away. Because if you're looking at something that somebody said, oh, I used this deck last week, the meta may have shifted. It might be a different pocket meta. You never know. So right now, what we're looking at, according to untapped.gg, is in or She-Not. This is the stuff where you're looking at typically extended with magic. You skip on a certain turn, you get the Infinite and She-Hulk late, you leech your opponent. You got your Sunspot, your Misty Knight, and your Cyclops out there pinging your opponent to bring down the points. Pretty typical deck. The nice part I like about this is that it's got a great average cubes and a win rate. The reason I've gone to win rate for this is because depending how good or bad you are as a snapper and understanding when to do that, average cubes can be a little deceptive. Next up, Destroy. I'm a little surprised on this one. I'd be very, very cautious with Destroy. Super Giant can really wreck Destroy if people are playing with that. You've also got your Shang-Chi's, you've also got your Shadow Kings, but it is still a very solid deck. The deck that I'm playing, again, I think it just destroys Destroy. So then next up, we've got Sarah Control. I am seeing a lot of stuff like this. It doesn't have to be this deck necessarily, but you do want to have your Miss Marvel, you want to have your Zabu, you want to have your Sarah. The thing I like about this, and this isn't actually all that far off of what I'm playing, to be honest with you, I do not use Quake, but you've got some great tech in this with Shadow King, Mobius, Shang-Chi, and Killmonger. Oh, and also Enchantress. You basically can handle anything that gets put on the board. I love the deck that I'm playing is almost identical to this one. I highly recommend playing it because it beats so much. I've had people where I've snapped before turn 6, they immediately snap. The next turn I play whatever I'm going to play, they just insta retreat 4 cubes. I'm like, cool, thanks. And it's because they don't expect you to use things like this. So there's not a lot of armors out there. There's not necessarily a lot of the Cosmos is not out there a lot. There's not a lot of Chiaras either. We already talked about Destroy. Lockdown is still making a little bit of a presence known. The part that I like about this one, Omega Red. I think the buff to Omega Red's really solid, especially when you're talking about having Miss Marvel and Zabu in there as well. You've got your Super Giant where you play in with your Goliath and you can destroy whatever your opponent's got. I think it's solid. Another thing that I want to talk about a little bit is the junk type decks. You got your Ravana. Now the stuff that I really like seeing is the Sentry. Anything you're throwing over again with Annihilus. There's a lot of people who aren't playing necessary counters to this. So I think this is pretty good. I would definitely look at this. I think it's solid. I do want to change a little bit on this where it's not current location. Let's change it to latest patch. This is still semi-new as well. So what we're going to see here is Darkhawk. Now, again, with some of the tech decks I mentioned before, Darkhawk gets thrown away pretty quickly. But what's nice about this is they've also got Omega Red, the Iron Lad, Iron Man, you got the Mystique, Doom, etc., where you can get things for pretty good. So I would definitely consider maybe looking at this. The average cubes here also pretty good at 1.5 versus the win rate at 83. That's a really, really good setup. More Darkhawks here. You can look at what you want depending how you like to play. Again, don't sleep on Quake. Depending how you play this, I'd also consider throwing in a Storm with a Quake. You throw Storm somewhere, you play Quake later. Your opponent's not necessarily thinking about what's going to happen as far as a Quake play, and then you play at the other location where the flooded's going to land and your opponent might not. You're looking pretty good. Lockjaw, I still do like this depending on the version you play, whether it's an all Asgardian outlook or you're doing something where it's like a big Jane Jaw, something. I think it's all pretty solid where you're just trying to get big ones. This is actually a little bit of a mix between high Evo and some of these new all Asgard things. And don't sleep on Valkyrie. I'm telling you, with all the people who use the Hawks, the Infinites, and all that type of thing, Valkyrie is just crushing stuff. So those are some of the decks that we're seeing on untapped.gg. I don't want to spend a ton of time, but I do want to look at one of our other friends that we've got some coverage on. And this one is going to be over on Marvel Snap Zone. So we're going to click over on Marvel Snap Zone here, see what they've got. We've got this set up. I like this one a little bit better because it's 7 days. Maybe not a little bit better, but it gives us another outlook. We got 80 to 99. Again, a 3,500 plus collection. What they've got here, we've talked about it already, like an Annihilus. This one's a little bit of a bounce Annihilus where you can keep hitting your opponents a little bit. I do like this. Werewolf by Night, also out there, maybe still doing pretty good. Something to think about. The black, I will say this one is a little weird. I would ditch the Black Knight. Like, what are you going to discard here? This says it's crucial. I feel like somebody's trolling Snap Zone, but I think the rest of this is pretty solid. I think it's pretty good. Like, how are you even discarding here, by the way? This is crucial, yet you have no discards. You know what I'm saying? Marvel Snap Zone, get your stuff under control. People are putting in decks here that are weird. Next up, we've got Blob Thanos. We kind of talked about this a little bit. This is the version I play. Slightly different. I don't have Wave, but I think that you can find things along with Wave. I think Wave's a fantastic use here. You can use anything that's a little bit lower. Maybe a 1-cost card, maybe a Sunspot, or maybe a Nebula or something like that to control lanes a little bit. We've already talked about Darkhawk. I think that we don't necessarily have to go over that again. They've thrown Ronin in this version. This is a 58% win rate. This is a 57% win rate. As we look at these top ones, 63.59, knowing that our friends over at untapped.gg have the tracker and you're seeing win rates at 82, 81, 81, 80. If you're looking for that infinite right now, then I'm going to be looking for these decks, okay? Because a lot of people are using these trackers. We saw at the front end of the Snap Zone that it seems to be a little bit off with what is likely, but I think, yeah, lean this way, lean this way. So this is the ones that we looked at from the latest patch. Again, right now, current location, look at stuff like this, but I want to show you the deck I'm using. So we're going to swing back into game, and I'm going to tell you guys, I want to give a shout out. There was controversy over this back in the day when this happened, but somebody covered this deck separately, said it didn't give credit to whatever. I'm not getting into that whole thing, but I still use this deck because I think it's friggin' phenomenal. I love it. I use it nonstop. It's when I ever want to climb Saratech Revis. The same thing. I talked about this being similar to as what the other one had on here. I have Legion. The other one had Quake. I think everything else was the exact same. They might not have had Lizard, but I love this deck. It's awesome. I mean, a lot of times I use the Enchantress over top the Lizard. I like the Zabu to get these 3 cards cheaper. You throw the Sarah out there, which you got to be careful. If there's a lot of super giants out there, you do not want to get hit by that. But Legion, also a nice, fun sneak play. I've won several games over that. Gladiator can screw you over. I've had that happen. Be careful. I would be very hesitant to snap anytime before you've played Gladiator, and if you plan to play Gladiator later. Do not snap waiting to play a Gladiator. Shadow King, Killmonger, Shang-Chi, Enchantress, they are going to help you so much. And Miss Marvel is still really, really solid. I love everything about this, but again, be careful of Quakes, be careful of Magnetos. Magneto can really hurt this deck a lot because he'll swing everything over. Having said that, I've also won games where Magneto swung things over. This deck is going to likely get you to infinite if you play it well. If you want something that's a little simpler, then go check out the ones that I showed on the 2 websites. I'd lean a little bit more into the Untapped right now if you want to get it really quick and really hot. Hope this helps you. Get your infinite, get it quickly. If you found any of this helpful, consider hammering down that like button, subscribing, all that sort of thing. And until next time, we hope you have a wonderful day.